Well, welcome everyone to the mid-year ApprovalMax product update webinar. We're so excited to have you here. What we'll be covering today is we're going to meet our speakers. We're going to do some polls, feature demos, and then of course Q&A. I'm Dee Johns. I'm the head of product marketing, and I'm joined here by our product expert, Alex.
Hi, everyone. Once again, I'm very excited to be presenting every quarter. I love these webinars more than anything else because that's actually the best time for us to show you what we've done so far during the last 3 months and hoping to receive your feedback, hoping that you will enjoy these new features, these new improvements. So I cannot wait to show you everything that we've done so far.
That's awesome, Alex. Thank you. So before we get started, just wanted to say that Zoom takes up a lot of bandwidth. So if you would like the best experience, we recommend closing out any of the unnecessary programs that you might have. Everybody who's registered for the webinar will receive the recording by the end of this week. Now, we want to make this session really interactive, and so we'd like you to drop any of the questions that you have into the Q&A section down the bottom, and our experts are here live so they can answer them for you. We'll also be running a quick poll, and we really would love your input into that poll because it makes all of our features come across even better. We have quite a few people that are joining us today that are very new to ApprovalMax. And I just wanted to say that ApprovalMax is a powerful accounts payable and accounts receivable automation solution that gives you full control over all your approvals. It's trusted worldwide by accountants, bookkeepers, and businesses to strengthen financial controls, all within a single platform. Alex, I reckon we can jump straight into the updates. What do you think?
100%. Let's do that.
Brilliant.
And I would like to start with maybe some of our very historic feature. We have purchase orders from the day one all the way back to 2016. But of course, one of the goals behind ApprovalMax is to make things much easier for you to work with. So we're looking into integrity between different parts of ApprovalMax, that the data flows from one source to another one, and you don't need to go from one system to another, that everything will be done within one single place. So what we've done this quarter in our ApprovalMax capture, we've added purchase orders into that. So let's think about some of the use cases here. Imagine that your employees, they would ask their supplier to provide a quote for things that they want to purchase. It might be 30, 50, 100 different line items that they want to purchase. Once they'll receive that quote, without capture, they would most likely need to do all of that manual work. They would need to retype all of these things from the quote into the purchase order and submit it for approval. I don't know how about you guys, but I am not a big fan of manual labor. I prefer to automate things as much as possible. And that's where ApprovalMax Capture really allows you to save a lot of your time without minimizing risk of errors. So what it does and how does it work? Let's take a look into the demo.
Awesome. I'm with you, Alex. Anything I can automate, I am right there.
100%, same thing. So when you're now creating a new purchase order, when you select the file preview, not only you will find the regular attachment, something that you would do previously, and then type in all the details here on the right side of the screen. Now you can use ApprovalMax Capture for that. And let's say you do have a quote, and I do have a quote, with around 30 different line items about chairs, pinboards, whiteboards, all kinds of different things. So rather than me doing that manually, I can just now confirm my choice. And within 5 to 15 seconds, it will extract the data for me. During that time, I can take a sip of water.
I was going to say, you didn't even have to take a sip of water, and it's already done for you.
Exactly. I was like, I'm already drinking water, but it's already extracted all the data. And as you can see, we have all of our line items here. We have all of our quantities, unit prices. It does added some tax rate, though I don't have a tax rate here, but it also highlighted that hey, it's been in the past that you've used the tax rate for such for that supplier. So we've suggested to use that tax rate. But of course, if you want to teach the system to use something else, maybe another tax rate, or maybe you want to apply account codes in bulk or the tracking categories in bulk, you can again just select all of these items, click on edit selected, and let's say it's going to belong to office equipment. It's going to be no VAT, and it's going to be for our North region. Click on save. Now it's all being applied in bulk, and the system will learn from your interaction what value should be applied next time. So with that, we've saved a lot of time adding all of these details. All we need to do right now is to simply submit that for approval. So that easy, and welcome to try the ApprovalMax capture for your purchase orders. Let's get going, unless we have any specific questions.
No, not at the moment, Alex.
Not at the moment, okay.
Everybody's a little bit shy so far, so please don't forget to add your questions into the Q&A system.
Perfect. So let's move forward. The next thing would be about the credit notes, and that would be about the credit notes creation. Previously, you might know that in case you want to raise the credit note on the bill that you received, you would need to go into your Xero account, you would raise that credit note over there, and you will submit that for approval into ApprovalMax. It works quite well, though it kind of breaks the user experience, because in case you need to go from one system to another, you would need to give permissions to your users to go into that system. They would need to raise that credit note. You would need to wait for this credit note to be pulled into ApprovalMax. It really takes some of your time, and it really does not give you the best user experience possible. Now we're adding a feature for you, adding a new possibility for you to create these credit notes directly from ApprovalMax. So when you received your bill, once it's been approved, you can just create a credit note out of that bill, and it will automatically apply all the values. It will apply all the attachments that you might have, and then you can just assign where it should be going to. So now it's being all added, and you have a clear sequence between all of your documents. You've raised the PO, you submitted that for approval, it went to your supplier, you received the bill, you've matched it against the PO, but something is wrong with the bill, something maybe you didn't receive. So you can now raise the credit note out of that bill. The way it works is actually quite simple. If we'll now take a look and go into our workflows, and we'll take a look into the AP credit note workflow, we'll see that now on the top of the screen, we have create an ApprovalMax. So just like with any other workflow, you simply select who should be your requesters. You're creating your multi-step and multi-tiered approval workflow for these AP credit notes, update the workflow, and now we're set to go. So if we'll take a look, let's say, on the bill that were previously approved, you will now find there is an additional button called the Add to Credit Note. It will automatically create a credit note out of that bill. It will include the details about where it's being copied from. It will include all of your line items. It will include all of your attachments. Of course, you can add additional attachments here in case you wanted to. And then you just submitted that for approval. So it takes 5 seconds for me to create a credit note out of the bill. I don't need to go into Xero, raise the credit note. I don't need to wait for this credit note to be pulled into ApprovalMax. Everything now is absolutely seamless. And on the other side, just quickly, let's go back into our presentation. The next feature is actually goes alongside with the one that I've shown you already, and that will be an ApprovalMax capture. So you can also use ApprovalMax capture for your credit notes. So if you received, or maybe if you raised the credit note somewhere, or if you have it maybe in the print format, you can just snap a photo of your credit note. And now you will be able to just upload that into ApprovalMax capture when you're creating a credit note, and it will be all flowing into your ApprovalMax account. It works the same for accounts payable and account receivable. Therefore, you can already start using that today. All right.
That's a complete end-to-end solution, isn't it, Alex?
Exactly. So that's one of the major things behind ApprovalMax. We're always looking at what our customers are saying, and if there is any breaks in the logic, if something is not seamless as it could be, if there is any potential way for us to improve the user experience, we would definitely do that. And that was actually something that came from one of our customers, because they've been raising all of these bills, they were raising all of these purchase orders, and they were always struggling to to go back into Xero and raise the credit note, because typically it would be employees who would raising these bills, but then it would be an account that would need to go into Xero, raise the credit note, and push it forward. So it's kind of not the most amazing experience that you can have. Now it's all been flawless across the board.
Alex, we actually have a question from Elaine. What about a credit note that is not, I think that's supposed to say is not per an invoice as such, i.e. a rebate for the year? Can that also be done?
Of course, you can just raise a credit note without just, The one that I've shown you would be just copying things from the bill, but you can also just go into your ApprovalMax account. And if you are allowed to create credit notes, you'll find there's a plus sign. Well, let me just enable a credit note for myself. So if you're allowed to create these credit notes, you can now just click on the plus sign. It will open the form for a new credit note. So you can just upload that via ApprovalMax Capture or apply that manually, and then it will be a separate document. It's not connected to the bill. So you can definitely do that.
Lovely. Thanks, Alex.
Perfect. So let's move on to the next topic. For our QuickBooks Online customers, it's a very small improvement, but at the same time, it's a very important one. So when you're performing bill to purge auto matching, typically it happens when you already created that bill, when it goes through the approval cycle. So it might be that someone from your approvers team will be doing that. And maybe sometimes you would like to have a bit more control over that process. And in certain cases, you have a bill which exactly matches the purchase order you previously raised. So there is no need actually for you to manually match all of your line items to that PO. So what we've done now, on the very early stages, when you have just created a new bill, you will already find a linking button. So you can already match that against the PO. On top of that, if you're copying a bill from the PO, it will automatically match that to the PO. So it makes it just your life much easier. And the way it all works, again, if we'll go into our ApprovalMax account, let's open the QBO organization. So I do have a few bills here already, waiting to be approved or waiting to be paid. So let's say we're looking at, we're going to just take a purchase order that was approved, and then maybe just copy that into the bill. So as you can see now, here on the right side of the screen where we have our category details, it's already being linked against the purchase order line items. We can, of course, remove that in case we want to, or in case we maybe received less or the price has changed. We can change that here on the fly, and the remaining balance will be also deducted on the bill itself. So now, without spending much time trying to figure out which bill belongs to this PO, which line items you would like to mark off, you can do that straight away and it's all being automatically matched. Now, all you just need to do is to select the due date and then submit it for approval. So now the whole bill to PO matching is done.
Awesome. Oh, sorry, I was going to interrupt you for a second and say we've got a question, but please continue.
No. All I wanted to say is it's the same actually process if you're just raising a new bill. So you can straight away connect dots to the purchase order.
Awesome. We've got a question from David. If an invoice is matched to a PO, does the invoice still need to be approved if it's within a defined tolerance of the PO value? So ideally, we don't want the budget managers to have to do the approval twice.
Great question. For now, you would need still to make an approval decision because though it's being matched against the PO 100% and it's being matched completely, still there might be certain discussions within the team if it actually should be approved. Let's say if the budget here, I am over the budget, maybe I shouldn't be approving this bill now. Maybe I should be waiting for the next month once we'll have some budget left for that. So I can put this request on hold and wait for another month when we will be paying for that bill. So it's still a matter of discussion internally, and that is why we're still keeping that available for approvals. Though there is a little workaround, if you are an admin, so let's say in my case, I've created the bill out of the PO and it's been fully matched, and I don't really want to send that for approvals. I just want to push that into QBO. I can make my forced approval here and just push it straight away into QBO. So I won't waste my team's time in case I don't want that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alex.
Perfect. There's actually one more thing about QBO. It's not on the slides, but it's just been released yesterday, and I want to share that with you. So for our QBO customers, another great feature, and it comes back to the ApprovalMax Capture. ApprovalMax Capture not only allows you to extract the data from your bills, but also for your expense reports. So if you do have an expense report, maybe just a receipt that you would like to add into your expense report, now you can use ApprovalMax Capture for that, either by email, or you can submit your invoices over to ApprovalMax, or just by creating a new expense report within the browser version itself. So it is now a part of ApprovalMax.
And Mark also added, we would like to auto match of invoices to POs where the values are the same.
Correct. So the auto matching works if the values are the same, it will automatically just add the whole thing. So basically the auto matching works only if you're copying a PO into the bill. So it just takes all of these line items and just takes the same values. In case you want to change these values, you can of course do that, but it will also reduce the amount of the remaining balance of the PO.
Yeah, awesome, brilliant, thank you.
Perfect. Now let's move forward. So our NetSuite customers, I wonder if there is actually any customers here, anyone in the audience who are using NetSuite and who are here at our webinar today, because there is something.
Please put it in the chat. We'd love to see that as well. Somebody did ask a question just earlier. Maria asked a question about journal entries from Excel templates. So I'm not sure what GL she's on, but over to you, Alex.
Sure. So now, as you know, for our Zero customers, for our QBO customers, we had journal entry approval workflow for quite some time, and it's being used quite heavily. Actually, it's one of the most used features within ApprovalMax. And a lot of our customers on NetSuite were asking for exactly the same thing, because you want to prepare your journals, you want to make sure that it's actually been approved by the relevant people, and it's actually being then posted into your NetSuite account. Now it is possible. Now you can do that within ApprovalMax. And the way it all works, it's actually quite similar to any other features within ApprovalMax itself. So if I'll change my organization now from QBO into NetSuite, you will find there is a new workflow called the journal entry workflow. You can either create your journal entries within ApprovalMax, you can add a list of your requesters, as many as you need, and keep them away from your NetSuite account. They will be able to create the journal entries, but then they will be going through the approval cycle that you've built. Again, you can create your workflow based on the variety of parameters here, like the amount thresholds, like who is the requester of that journal entry, based on the account codes, tax code, departments, or any other custom fields that you might have in your NetSuite organization. So it's really configurable in a way you want it to, and you can create as many of these approval steps as needed without having a need to create a workflow in SuiteFlow. The other option, you can also pull your journal entries from NetSuite itself. If you've already created them in NetSuite, just set them into pending approval status. We will automatically pull them on board, and then you will be able to run them through the approval cycle and post it back as already approved journal entries. If we're looking in the example of creating journal entries in ApprovalMax itself, once you click on the plus sign, it will take us to the journal entry creation form, where you can straight away define what should be your reference number. Let's say test 002. What should be the date of the journal, but you can also specify the reversal date for that journal. Then add whatever details needed to be added in terms of the line items, submit it for approval, including any of your attachments. Once it gets approved, it will be automatically posted into NetSuite. So it's an amazing new workflow that you can already start using today.
That's awesome. So that means that all our GLs, Xero, QuickBooks, and NetSuite now have journal entries in ApprovalMax.
That is correct. Yeah. Again, that all comes to the original idea that each and every product should provide you with the same value. And we're constantly adding all of these new workflows, all of these new features, bill to PO matching, budget checking to each and every product. So you should be expecting even more next time, next product update, we'll be seeing each other on both on QBO, on NetSuite. So we're very happy to show you all of these new things.
Yes. Thanks, Alex.
Perfect. Now let's move on to the next topic. The next feature you might, if you've been to our product update webinar last time, you might have heard about it, but now it is live for all of our customers on advanced and premium plans. And this feature called account groups. And it's actually, I think, in my personal opinion, is one of the most amazing features that we released recently, because it really allows you to tighten your workflow, making sure that it all looks good and you can manage it in much, much, much easier ways. As an example, imagine we have multiple departments. Sales department, they probably would be approving things that belongs to their sales department. People who are approving things for expenses, they would probably need to approve things for these expenses. Let's say if we do have someone, maybe a travel manager, who will be approving all of our travel expenses, we would like that person to be able to approve only such requests. Previously, the way it would work in ApprovalMax, if we'll go back into my Xero account, by the way, it's only available for Xero for now, but later it will be available for other products as well. Previously, if you would go into your workflow, what you would do, you would just simply add a list of all of these different account codes. Imagine if you have 10 people, maybe you have 100 people, you would need to do that over and over and over and over again. It might take a lot of your time. Not only it will take a lot of your time, but also it's very hard to manage. If you have 100 people with 20 different account codes, you'll have a very long lasting list of all of these account codes, and it will be very, very hard to understand where you should apply a new account code, where you should remove an account code. So it's not the most pleasant user experience, I'd say. Now, if we'll take a look back into our workflow, here in the top right corner, you'll find a new icon. Some of my colleagues saying that it looks like a pancake. Some are saying that it looks like, three different
Dax.
three different packs. So yeah, I'm actually prefer the pancakes. And if we'll click on this one,
Yes.
it will now allow us to create a new group of values. So let's say we're going to create a new group, which will only be approving things for expenses. It will show us a list of all the account codes we have in our Xero account. Now we can just simply type in what we would like to see. Let's say direct expenses, general expenses, legal expenses, and motor vehicle expenses. And I will put that into that group. Click on save in case I need to provide any comments for the future, or for the future approvers, for the future workflow managers. I can easily do that. And now the new group is being created. So instead of adding all of these different values to the person, all I can do now is to select account matches and add the expenses. As you can see, it is much, much easier for now to see what is going on here. It's much, much easier to manage these groups. On top of that, we might have people in different approval stages. We might have people in approving things on purchase orders. We might have people approving things under review step, maybe some other workflows. So rather than you will be going from one workflow to another, adding all of these new account codes, if these account codes has changed, you can just simply go into the group of accounts, add those accounts there, and it will be automatically applied to all of your workflows, to everyone who has these account codes, account group. And I really love this feature. I'm pretty sure you would find it super, super useful as well.
Yeah, I really love this feature too, Alex. I'm with you. I've actually got a question for you. What happens if a new account code is added into the chart of accounts in Xero? What happens then?
Sure, great question. We sync the data from Xero constantly. It actually happens every 2 hours, or in case you want to speed up the process, you can pull these values straight away. Actually, some customers don't know about that, but if you go to organization settings and connections and click on these 2 arrows, you can sync whatever data has been updated in Xero. So now with new account codes that you have in Xero and they've been pulled into ApprovalMax, you can just go into the group of accounts. Let's say for expenses, I would like to edit that. And I would like to add a new account code. Maybe let's say I will add advertising and marketing and audit and accountancy fees. You just apply that to your group, click on save, and now it's all being applied across the board. So it takes 5 seconds to do the whole thing.
It's fantastic, isn't it? And I just saw somebody ask, is the grouping, sorry, will the group feature be available on the standard plan? At the moment, Emma, it's only available on the advanced and premium plans, isn't it, Alex?
Yes, that is correct. So group of accounts will be available on advanced and premium plans. And that actually may be a great opportunity for you to try it out, because we've added lots of new amazing features, such as our review step, such as editing on approvals, auto approval,
Yes.
journal entry approvals, this new group of accounts, and many more being added to the advanced plan, and you have a chance to try it for free for 14 days just to see if it actually brings you the value. And then
Yes.
if it is, you can always upgrade and see how it actually will work for you.
That's such a great little trial, isn't it? The all features trial. Alex, we've got another question. Are these groupings applicable to tracking categories in Xero also?
Great question. Unfortunately, not at the moment. We do have it. We do have this on our roadmap, not only for tracking categories, but for other columns as well, such as maybe suppliers, such as maybe items. But as for now, we are only focusing on the group of accounts as it's been highly requested by our customers. So we're testing that now. We're seeing what will be the adoption, what will be the feedback, and later we will of course roll it out to other tracking categories or suppliers or something else. But yeah,
Brilliant.
thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you for this question. It's actually a great feedback from you. All right, let's get going.
The very next update, I'm sure Kelsey will be very excited about this. There was a question from Kelsey in the group. So over to you, Alex.
All right, awesome. We actually have quite a few updates for our ApprovalMax Pay add-on. So as you know, for our UK customers, we do have a payment solution called ApprovalMax Pay, allowing you to connect your bank account directly to ApprovalMax and start executing payments directly within the platform. So have single source of truth for both data extraction, data approvals, and your payments. But there were a few things that our customers were asking us to add and to improve the user experience. One of them would be removing bills from these batch payments. Because imagine when we're maybe in a large company, we have certain people who are creating these batches, certain people who will be approving these batches, and certain people who are actually making payments of these batches. Typically, it's completely different people. So let's say if I'm an accountant who just seen all the bills that were approved, I would create a batch out of it. But my CFO might take a look on the current cash flow, they might take a look on current budget and realize that we won't be able to pay each and every bill out of that batch. And now we would like to remove some of these things. So previously, you would only be able to cancel the whole batch and then recreate it once again. It takes a lot of your time. Now you are allowed to remove specific line items that you don't want to pay at that time and then later add it into another batch. And the way it works is actually quite simple. Let me change that to one of my payment solutions. Let me just quickly see which one would work the best for us. Okay, so let's say I've got this bill from a batch payment 9 from 19th of June, 2025, today's. I have quite a few bills here, 3 of them. One's from WWF UK, one is from Red Cross, or 2 actually from Red Cross. So I might be thinking, all right, I'm happy to pay for Red Cross because they're in the same batch, but perhaps WWF UK should go somewhere into another batch. Maybe I don't want to pay that straight away now. So how would I do that? Previously, I could just cancel the whole batch. That will be the end of the story. I would need to recreate that batch. But now I can select specific line item, click on cancel, provide a comment due to a next batch. Confirm my choice, and it's now being canceled. So if I now will try to pay for that batch, it will only show me these 2 line items from Red Cross, and I won't be spending money on WWF UK. That is a small improvement, but very important one. Another one, we actually have quite a few updates for ApprovalMax Pay. The other one would be ApprovalMax Pay on mobile. And it reminds me of a story. Just recently, we've been to Accountex, and it actually happens quite often. When you're at the stand, someone is approaching you and it's like, hey, Alex, we are an existing customer. You don't need to sell us anything, but hey, I just wanted to say you something. I wanted to say thank you for creating your mobile app because I was just in Tube. I've opened ApprovalMax app and I was just scrolling through the bills that are awaiting my approval. And I was just click, click, click. Everything is done. So now I'm free for the whole day. I can just now enjoy the rest of the show. But one thing was missing. Though you could create purchase orders, approve bills, do whatever needed to be done, when it comes to approving of these batches, when someone's created a batch, it was missing within our mobile app. Now we've changed that. Now you can see what are your batches, and you will be able to review the payment details, and you will be able to approve these batches. So let me quickly share my mobile screen, if I may. Just give me a moment. You should be able to see my screen in a second. Hopefully, if Zoom will allow me to share my mobile screen.
Alex, do
Sometimes
we
it,
have time for a question as you're trying to share the screen?
of course.
Sure. Lovely. Thank you. Jack would like to know,
Actually,
there it is. Can you cancel bill payments at the point of approval, or does the batch have to be approved first and then bills cancelled before payment?
well, when we're looking at the batch when it was like when it's still in queue, you mean that? Or what we
Yes.
can do, if something needed to be changed, we can just send it back to the review stage or send it back to the requester. So then they will be able to change those things. But once the batch is already fully approved, that's when the issue can happen. That's when we kind of stuck in the situation that it's already been approved by everyone from our multi-step approval workflow. We're now waiting for this payment to be executed, but we don't want to pay for that specific bill. So that's what this feature is all about. But yeah, if it's still under approval, there are numerous ways how you can deal with that. Either just reject it and send it back to the requester. They will quickly change things, or you can send it back to the review stage.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Okay, so let's take a look. I believe you should be able to see my mobile screen right now.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Actually, I was wrong about the temperature. It shows 28, but it feels like 50 degrees. So now we're in ApprovalMax mobile app, and one of the requests here is the batch payment. So what I can see straight away, I can see which bank account will be used to make a payment to that supplier or to the batch of these suppliers. I can see which bills being added. I can check the payment details on that request, so show payment details. It shows me the details about what is the account number, sort code. I can see by whom it was created, if any changes were made, and it's also will be showing you our traffic light system. So this request, you've paid to this contact before, but the payment details have changed. So now it might be some sort of indication for me to, perhaps not to pay or maybe not to approve this batch straight away. Maybe I should check the details about why these payment details has been changed. So same, I can take a look on the original attachments. I can see what are the totals. I can see what is my workflow looks like. I can comment on things. And if everything is fine, I can just approve the batch. Now it will go to the actual execution of payment. So it allows us to make our approvals on the go for both bills and our batches. Okay.
That's awesome, Alex. Just before you go into the next one, and I think this question is going to be across both of them. There's one of our customers was saying they're a little bit concerned about the security of, say, making payments online. And I think the next update that you're going to present is sort of tied into that. So I'm concerned about security with making payments via ApprovalMax and the batch payments.
That's legit. I would say it's like you can definitely feel it might be a bit, confusing, that it might be a bit insecure, but I would like to reassure you that first of all, the open banking technology, it is a standard across all the banks. It is being used by multiple sources, and it's not like we are just transferring money from ApprovalMax. We are just sending the instructions to your bank of what needed to be paid. But as UD mentioned, the next feature
Yeah.
will reassure you even more, because now we're adding confirmation of pay. That is something, if you're from the UK, you're very, very familiar with. So we are sending the request to the official jurisdiction, I'd say, who are saying that this sort code, this account number, and this account name is actually exist in the system, and that you're paying your money to the correct account code. So we are now doing that seamlessly within ApprovalMax itself, and the way it will look like within your account. It might be from both directions. You can either, when you're creating a new batch, it will show you if it's being matched against this COP, or if you're adding a new contact details. So for an example, here I have WWF UK, and as you can see on the bottom of the screen, I have full match. If I'll try to edit this request right now, let's say I will change my account number maybe to 7. It will show me the no match. So we're checking and we're asking this system if it's actually matches against the account, not holder name, account number, the sort code, all of those things. And it's not that we are bringing that information ourselves. We are parsing that information from this third-party solution, from this third-party tool, which is the official jurisdiction within the UK. Same if we are raising a new batch payment. Let's say we're going to add whatever bill we have. And when we'll be checking payment details, it will also show us the details if it's been fully matched or not. So even though that we will submit this bill and it might show us that the payment details has been changed, our internal traffic light system, it will show us a red flag. But it also shows us that it's being fully matched against the system. So we know that the person who changed these payment details are actually trying to fix the problem. So it's actually give you additional layer of security. Not only you have this traffic light system, but also the official matching system. So I hope that answers your question. I hope you will be reassured that it's absolutely secure to make these payments.
Thanks, Alex.
Perfect.
Now, I'm a little bit excited about this very next feature that's coming up, because we talked about it in our early in our last quarter update. And as soon as we talked about it, it was only in beta then, wasn't it, Alex? And we had over 100 requests to turn the beta on.
100%. That's actually it's an interesting feature, and people for some reason are very, very, very excited about this one, because I believe everyone likes to nudge other people to start for them to start finally doing their work. As you can even see, this lady on the right side of the screen, she's so happy because she just sent a nudge button to all of her approvers, and now everyone will need to make their decision on time. So one of the pillars behind ApprovalMax that we are trying to find the best possible solution for you to make your approval decisions on time without minimizing risk of error. And the nudge button, it's a very small feature, but at the same time, it's very powerful in terms of if your team members not doing their approvals on time. They might have their daily reminders. They might have their emails or maybe comments or maybe reports that you've scheduled. But again, you want to have additional option for you to just ask them, please, we really need this specific bill to be approved, because let's say we're closing the month, we need it to be in our accounting system. You want to be very specific in terms of what you want these people to approve. So nudge button allows you to do exactly that. We will take a look on the workflow step. We'll see who are people who are slacking, who are not doing their work on time. And once we click on nudge, it will automatically send notifications to these people. So the way it looks, just a second, the way it looks in the system, for each and every request, let me just select, maybe it requires my approval. My internet connection today is not great, so bear with me for a moment.
And as you're doing that, Alex, this exact situation happened to me just the other day. I had missed an approval. I didn't realize it. It had fallen to the bottom of my email chain, and I got a nudge, and it was like a little virtual tap on the shoulder. And I saw the nudge come through in my inbox, happened to be looking at something, and it was right at the top. And I was like, oh, I missed the last one. So I love it.
Yeah, same thing. I'll just like nudging people. So I just usually every morning I'm making a coffee to myself, and then I go through the list and I just nudge approvers. So they will know that I exist, that they need to do their work on time. And that is something right on the top of your screen. You will see who are we nudging, how many people are still not making their approvals. And you won't be able to just spam people all the time. There is a cooldown period, so you can do that every 24 hours, and it all happens just automatically. And most importantly, not only you will be able to nudge these people, the new request will be created in the audit report, so you know who made the nudge and who are actually being nudged. So every time, maybe you can then later create a report just showing who are the top slackers in your company.
Or for some unknown reason, the ones that sort of fell down, they don't have to be slackers like me. I just missed it in my email box.
Exactly. So on that note, that would be all the updates for this quarter. I cannot wait for the next quarter. We actually have quite a few very interesting things for you to show. But before we'll all go back to our work, we would like to ask
Yes.
you, we would like to start a poll, just understand a little bit about your opinion on about the AI. So what would best describe your approach to AI currently? Are you an early adopter? If you're still kind of in between, you're not quite sure about that, if you're waiting to see where it goes, or if you're just actively avoiding that completely.
So thank you, everybody who participated in that poll. That was brilliant. Now, as Alex said before, this brings us to the end of our session. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're considering ApprovalMax, we run product demo updates every week. Alex actually runs them
Yes.
in this region. Alex, you can talk about this better than I can because you run them.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it's a half an hour webinar where we're going through the initial setup, like what are the benefits, what are the key features, and how you can start your account in just a few simple steps. So if you're eager to know a little bit more about how you can actually start this journey, start this automation journey, feel free to sign up. We're actually building workflows. We're actually looking at some examples, and I'm actually answering some of these questions that you might have. So it's a great way for you to learn a little bit new about the product.
So thank you very much for all of these updates, Alex. We really look forward to everybody joining us again in the next quarter update that we do.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope you will try all of these new features and see you in the next quarter. Bye-bye.